Hey guys, if you don't know who I am, if you're finding this through Twitter or a random forum post, my name is TJ Lee. I am the creator of the Expressionless, one of the most viral creepypastas of its time. I am making this video, it's very late at night, I'm not really that prepared, so I'm just going to kind of go for it because there's something that's on my mind that I feel needs to be shared with the writing community and the artistic community at large. There is a huge divide between creators on YouTube, like particularly YouTube narrators and YouTube influencers who do spooky readings, and the authors that they get their work from. Now, I'm focused more so here right now on the horror community, particularly on NoSleep, where I'm a moderator, than I am on other things, but this is relevant to all artists when it comes to the version of exposure versus payment, so this is relevant to all of you. I've been in this community for nearly a decade now, and it has only gotten worse over time, and I will wholeheartedly admit that while I have seen this problem going on, I have had other things in my own life, and I've chosen to not necessarily bury my head in the sand, but kind of ignore it. And that kind of stops now. Because my story is so viral, it's been adapted and used by many creators. In fact, if you go and do a little Google right now, you will see the top results are going to be dramatic readings. Some are professional YouTube horror narrators, some are influencers, others are comedians. It varies. What I can tell you is the same thing that probably every major writer of any kind of old school creepypasta versus new school NoSleep piece can tell you, is that very few of us are getting paid. Very few of us are getting asked permission. Now, both those things are a problem. The way that it works right now is these big creators will reach out to some unestablished writers. They will ask them if they can use their work to narrate it. Very rarely will they ask for payment. Very rarely will they ask if the person wants to be paid. Some do, a lot don't. Now, right at this point, people are probably thinking, well, it's a writer's job to ask for that. It's an artist's job to ask for that, because obviously if you do commissions as an artist, you're going to have your tier system right there. It's a little bit different for writers. Some writers still use the 2 cents per word motif, which I don't recommend you use. Some are terrified because they want exposure versus payment. Others are terrified that if they do get paid, if they do ask for it, if they are assertive, they won't get used again. And that's a problem, because it gives these creators, these people who make upwards of $1,300, $1,400 on Patreon, let alone what they make in monetization, what they make in sponsorships, merchandising, when they go on tour. There is a lot of fucking money being thrown around in this. And I feel that it's my job to kind of pull back the curtain on that a little bit. So these writers are not doing that. 99.9% of writers, regardless of how skilled they are, how experienced they are just simply not asking out of fear that they shouldn't, that they're gonna lose their spot. And for me, I don't have that fear. Right now, I'll say it straight to this camera, to anyone who's watching this 10 years from now, I give a fuck if you narrate my work. This is my job. Doesn't bother me, doesn't affect me. I'm not bothered. What I'm bothered about is that I have colleagues who are absolutely phenomenal, who have been busting their asses on NoSleep and other forums for over a decade now, and they are still getting messed around. And that needs to stop. And I'm leading by example. I'm not going to name the YouTuber, out of respect, because they've actually done the payment, but I will put screenshots in here from my email that I sent to them, which was about 24 hours ago, basically stating that they used my story in a narration about 9 months ago. They did not ask me permission for it. They did not reach out to ask me for payment of it, and they then made money off of that. Now, your work is under what's called a Creative Commons license. That work can be remixed and reused. However, permission must always be asked for, and even though there's a gray area here, it is considered highly immoral and unethical to profit off of someone else's work. A writer spends anywhere from 30 minutes to 30 days sometimes making their work to see nothing, sometimes only $20. So I reached out to this person, I emailed them, gave them a professional email, again you'll see this in a moment, and I basically said that I charge $1 per 1K views, which is really conservative. So I'm going to say that again for any writer who is seeing this. $1 per 1K views for a big YouTuber is nothing financially to them. It is a really conservative estimate, and that is what I utilize with mid to upper level YouTubers like Mr. Creeps, for example. This YouTuber has over 2 million subscribers. They net about 5 million views per month. Now, you can use Social Blade, you can use any kind of CPM counter, and I will say again, they are not 100% accurate, but they are relatively accurate within a certain margin. I was on the front page of YouTube back in 2012. I know the average cost of these things, and that's without network sponsorships. This person probably made an average of about $1,500 to $2,000 off of my work. I asked for the $1 per 1K views, which netted to about $360. I made it clear, abundantly clear, that I would report it, it would get a strike against their channel, and I would consider legal options. Now, I have that at my disposal. Not every writer does. In fact, very few writers do. This person responded within 12 hours with an apology, very diplomatic, and they paid me. There will be authors and who don't want to do this. There will be YouTube narrators who don't want to pay. What I am going to say to all of you, and I will be putting this in a post as well, is that we need to start making a united front on this. There are too many writers that are getting offered nothing because these people have done this for over a decade or some close to a decade who know how to game the system, meaning that they will find people who are new to this community or people who they know they can take advantage of, and they will knowingly not mention the word payment in their message. And if they don't mention it, they think you won't mention it, which is still gaming the system. It's still manipulating you. Now, you have put time into your work. You have put hours, days, weeks. You have fobbed off partners. You have gone through God knows how much stress, lack of sleep, and put your soul into your work. And some motherfucker is paying their mortgage with their narration of your work. Now, I am not going to take away from what a narrator does. If they have the right voice, they put editing in, sound work, Foley, orchestration. It's all work on their part, but their work does not exist without us. And it's not fair. Should you make $25 from a story that's to make 100,000 views? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But we need to start making a united front on this, because otherwise nothing's going to change. I have led by example, and I will continue to lead by example. Every single video over the last 5 years from any major YouTube influencer that has netted over 100,000 views with my author, without my express permission to use my authorship, use my work, is going to get a message from me. And they're going to have the same one every time. And I will happily help any writer who feels that they need support in doing this. Because if all of us who are of a top tier caliber say no, they will be forced to go from mid to lower level, which will drop their views, and they will not make as much money, and they will be forced to start collaborating with us. Because this is not going to change otherwise. This is not going to go anywhere. We need to stand together. We need to be united, and we need to ask for a fair wage. Because in any other industry, you would get paid a fair percentage for someone taking your work and reusing it. So why is it not being done here? I'm prattling on, so I hope this helps. You can at me at Twitter at TJAYLEA. Same handle on Reddit, on NoSleep, where I'm a moderator. Any questions? Let me know.